What's up, guys? What's up, Mets fans? So, the New York Mets make a trade with the Seattle Mariners. Chris Flexen, Trevor Gott for Zach Muckenhirn. And already, the New York Mets DFA'd Chris Flexen and took on the rest of his money because the pitcher they wanted was Trevor Gott. And he has just, it's a 4.01 ERA. So, it's a guy who is probably better than everybody they have in a bullpen minus Robinson at this point, and Rayleigh. He has better numbers than Ottavino, and I think the New York Mets are going to actually. This move is actually it actually makes a lot of sense, right? You need different arms. You can't keep on bringing up guys from the minors when it comes to arms that cannot be trusted, and that's what the New York Mets are trying to do at this point, right? They got a long way to go. They won their first two games in July. They finally won a series. And this move, as soon as it happened and I saw it, I'm like, they're going to trade or they're going to DFA Chris Flexen because Trevor Gott is the guy. So that's what makes sense for the New York Mets. And I'm not shocked by this at all, but I do know that this is a move that the reason who wants to criticize Steve Cohen is exactly why they do this. And Webbs, you could say it's pathetic, but again, you're only looking at it from, oh, it's not a big move because little moves matter, right? This guy automatically is a better reliever than probably five other guys in this Mets bullpen. And that is the problem. And this is why this trade is small, but is actually meaningful. Because it's a guy that actually has a better ERA than most players, most relievers on this team. And this is why people, like Webbs and others, just think, oh, it's not a big move, it's a stupid move. But they actually took on money to get a decent arm because these are relievers that are not necessarily, they're available. Not great. I'm not saying he's a great reliever, but he's better than what they have. And that is what you have to look at it this way. And this is not a bad trade. And for a team that is on the verge of bordering between sellers and buyers or even staying pat, because 8 games might seem like a lot, but all you need is a 10-game stretch and you're right back in the hunt, just like the Reds, just like the Pirates did earlier on, just like many teams that actually made a run or actually in a better spot than the Mets or in a playoff spot or right near a playoff spot went on a 10-game stretch, right? There is no... name me a team besides the Braves that have gone on a massive run more than like a 10 or 12-game stretch. Now, the Mets probably won't do that. But these small trades, and I talk about this all the time with the Braves in 2021, the Nationals in 2019, and even the Astros in 2022, right? The Trey Mancini wasn't a huge deal. He didn't really help them in the playoffs, but it's little moves that can make a difference. And not saying that the Mets are going to go on a huge run, make the playoffs or anything like that, but this little move, little things like this, the same reason why Jose Quintana can actually steady a rotation and calm it down a little bit, not knowing that you have to have McGill pitch every 5th day or Carrasco pitch every 5th day. No. See, but that's what you think. You're thinking too far outside the box here. The whole point is that this trade is not an earth-shattering trade. They took on Chris Flexen's money to get a decent reliever. Again, there's not a lot of relievers that have under a 4 ERA in Major League Baseball that you can get your hands on. But let's just be honest about that, right? Trevor Gott, who the Mets took on Chris Flexen's money to get him, is a quality arm in a bullpen, considering the fact that the New York Mets are running out Brigham and every other Joe Schmo that shouldn't be in the major leagues. Drew Smith is garbage. All these guys. over and over again. It's a guy who's a major league reliever who, prior to a week ago, had he had like a 3.838 ERA. So that's what it is. Yeah, but again, Webbs, you want to do that, and I want to tell you this: who is pitching next year for the New York Mets? Who is pitching next year if you get rid of Scherzer and Verlander? I'm just curious, even though both of those guys actually have a full run less ERA over the last month. Load up on young talents. Again, young talents that are not proven. Once again, this is what we're doing. The Wilpons had 25 years to rebuild when they sucked every single year. They didn't do it. No, no. You're not out of it yet. If you think like that, that's a loser mentality, which is annoying from a lot of Mets fans. You got an owner that can take on money, take on bad contracts to get the team better if need be. Again, you're only 8 games out of a wild card spot, guys. We're acting like you can actually just say, "Oh, it's over." Like, it's not fair to the Mets. Yeah, it is only 8 games, right? Check 3 weeks ago and tell me where the Reds were. I want you to go, guys, check, because a lot of people don't do their homework. They just said, "Oh, it's over." Trade Scherzer and Verlander. So everybody for Kodai Senga, who everybody wants to get rid of, whoever never wanted and think he's a bust, is going to be your ace next year if you get rid of Scherzer and Verlander. Right? Mike Vasil, who looks good in AAA, but is he our number 2? Everybody wants to get rid of Peterson and McGill. Well, they're going to be your number 3 and number 4 starters. So that's your rotation for next year, and that's the same people who wants to give a contract to Alonso. You can't half-ass this deadline. You either get rid of everybody or get rid of nobody. Honestly. Because if Shooter says, "Oh, rebuild, trade everybody." Okay, trade everybody. Then you might as well trade Alonso. Because you're going to give Alonso probably this offseason a huge contract. So wait, we're going to wait until he's 34 until we figure out a rebuild and get everybody we need and pray that these prospects that I can give a shit about at this point. Get out of what contracts? There is no long-term contract that the Mets are back behind the corner. Scherzer and Verlander are on short-term deals. Marte still has 2 years left. That's basically it. Canna is done after this year. I'm sorry, guys, but you guys are unrealistic with stuff like that. Getting younger is absolutely, but let's be honest, guys. You got Alonso, you got Nimmo, you got McNeil. These guys are what? All under 30? 30 and younger? Right? Beatty, obviously young. Alvarez. So that's 5 guys already in your lineup. Well, it did. They actually had the second biggest win total in their franchise history. So something did change. Yeah, they would be, because again, you're not paying attention. If you want to lose in season next year, then trade Verlander, trade Scherzer, and basically trade Alonso as well. Because what's the point? Scherzer makes a lot of sense because the Mets have no rotation. You know who's the best pitcher available on the market? Do you know who that is? I'm just curious because I don't think anybody actually knows. Right? Do you want Luis Severino? But they don't need to be superstars. They don't. They need to pitch the way they've been pitching the last 3 weeks. No, not Shane Bieber, please. But there's guys like Luis Severino. Ooh, can't wait to get him on the Mets. Right? That's what you guys don't understand. So you want to lead your rotation next year with Kodai Senga and Mike Vasil and pray that Kodai Senga actually figures it out and Mike Vasil can actually be a major leaguer. And oh, by the way, David Peterson and Tyler McGill are going to be part of your rotation as well. That's what you want? Everybody couldn't wait to get rid of David Peterson and McGill about 2 weeks ago. And everybody was like, oh, Senga can't pitch every fifth day. Well, he's your ace now. Congratulations. So now you're giving a huge contract to Alonso, right? Giving a huge contract to Alonso, and we're not going to be good for what, 3-4 years? So we wait until Alonso's 34 years old? That's exactly what we did with David Wright when we finally actually tried to have a pulse. But Scherzer is not washed up. You guys are mistaken. He's not washed up. You know what washed up looks like? Carlos Carrasco. That's washed up. Right? If a pitcher can't go 7 innings, you're washed up. But again, you're not listening. You guys are not listening. You guys don't want to win, ever win, because you don't want to make any type of, you don't like risk or reward. You just like, oh, let's get younger because that's what everybody else is doing, so it must work. And then when it doesn't work, you all look like fools. And that's the problem that everybody's having. You have that loser Wilpon mentality. Scherzer's on the verge of what? Because last time I checked, he has better numbers than a lot of really good pitchers around the league. So you guys are just not, you're not looking at the bigger picture, and you're only looking at the situation that, oh, this trade is useless. Yeah, people forget about that. Yes, you can build around, but you also need some type of pieces that can actually, that that can be productive. We don't know Ronnie Mauricio is going to be a good major leaguer. We don't know Mark Vientos is going to be a good major leaguer. We don't really know about Beatty or Alvarez either, for everybody who hasn't been paying attention over the last month, how bad they've been. Yeah, it's actually a recliner couch with my cat right there. There he goes, right there. There, he's sleeping. He had enough. Thank you for asking, Robert. Okay, I don't care if he's 38. The last time I checked, he had his ERA under a full run over the last month. Yes, I know pitches decline, but declining pitchers looks like Carrasco. Scherzer can still pitch, right? If he gives us 6-7 innings every time out, 2 runs, you can win ball games. I'm sorry, guys, you're just not paying attention. You're just not. You don't realize the impact that it will have if Scherzer and Verlander are off this team next year. Because Kodai Senga and Mike Vasil are probably going to be your 1-2, and then what? Then what? Again, it's a lost season for you. It's not over yet. You act like the trade can't bring back a starter. Who? The trade in Scherzer or Verlander? Do you know that? And what type of prospect or what type of arm? Because what are you getting? What do you want? A 4th starter for Scherzer? Great, let's get a 4th starter for Scherzer. So we're gonna have like 9 Carrascos running around in our rotation. Can you get a number 3 starter? Because if that's the case, Scherzer is a number 3 starter. He has better numbers than number 3 starters. So your point? There is none. The point of the matter is, you like to be a negative Nancy. You are a Wilpon apologist. You have a loser's mentality, which is expected from a lot of Mets fans. And you just assume right away, you came on here. No, they won't. No, they won't. So if you just said that Scherzer's washed up, that means other teams believe they're washed up. What are they just going to not say he's washed up? You just said he's washed up. So if you think that, wouldn't other teams think that? So you're not getting nothing. They DFA flexing because he has almost an 8 ERA. And he's basically, I know he was a starter in 2021 and 2022 with good years. They won't take a shot. But again, that doesn't mean that you're going to get back what you want. Well, okay, but they're not out of contention yet. Again, you still got 3 weeks until the deadline. Basically, for a month. If you're not, see, again, people just want to, everybody's like, oh, look how bad Scherzer was in April. But they completely forget about June. So wait, if the Mets were in the playoff spot, you're fine with Max, but he's washed up. You just said it, so you just contradicted what you just said. No, the prospects are not assets. We don't know that because those prospects can suck, and then you don't get nothing for them. Yeah, I'm not saying they're going to do that. But again, you got a month until the deadline. You don't make major moves right now. Again, if we're still around the same amount of games out by the deadline, then we can think about moving Scherzer and Verlander and see what we can get back. But if we're not getting him back, if we're gonna pay all the money, I want a top 10 prospect. If you're not gonna give us that, I'm not trading him because it's pointless after that. I don't want a 20 ranked prospect who might be a fringe reliever. And Rocky just said it. If the pitching gets better, which it actually has over the last month, if you haven't been paying attention, too many people has been having hard-ons for the lineup, which is hilarious to me since they've been scoring 6 runs per ball game. Well, Flexen's gone, committee. They DFA'd him. They took on Flex's money to get Trevor Gott, to get an actually competent arm other than Raley and Robertson in the bullpen. And again, not saying this guy is, a top 10 reliever. He's not. But he's better than what the Mets have. And that is another reason why for the people who want to kill Steve Cohen and bitch and moan about him, this is what he can do. And this is a small move, but there's also big moves that can be out there if it comes up. And if the Mets find their way back into something here. Blake Snell. Yeah, okay, he's been great. Julio Urias. Yeah, sure. But again, we're not the only ones going for him. So let me see. Blake Snell is not a top line rotation guy anymore. He's not a 1 or a number 2 anymore. Julio Urias, probably not a 1 or 2 or anymore either. Yeah, I understand that, Michael. I get that. But you also, this is not a move where they traded anything major away. Quintana should be coming back soon. Should be in the next week or so. Scherzer's a former Cy Young winner. Verlander's a former Cy Young winner. Blake Snell was a Cy Young winner like 6 years ago. 5 years ago. Who cares? So what is he going to do? He's going to have the same ERA as Scherzer and Verlander? Great. Woohoo. So you got to give him a 4 or 5 year contract when he's not the same pitcher. Julio Urias, fine. But you can't put him at the top of your rotation and think he's going to do well. Kendall, I try. The Red Sox would take Max. Why? They're a 500 team. Why? Why would the Red Sox take him? And who do you want? Come on, that doesn't even make sense. A team that's basically out of the playoffs at this point, that is a 500 ball club, is going to take on Max Scherzer and then have to pay the player option next year of $40 million? You're out of your mind. Thank you, Nick. Wonderful. Why am I here? Because it's my channel. Why are you here? Okay, that's nice. He's having a good year. That's nice. Yeah, but the problem, I know, I get that. But I think the problem is he had one bad outing. Again, it's what you can trust at this point. They might not hit those numbers, but again, what are you going to give Blake Snell? A 5-year deal? You're not going to... No. That's where you're wrong, Shooter. They're going to pay the rest of the money this year. They are not going to take on that money next year. That's not happening. What's my great plan? Wait until the deadline. Because if the Mets go on a 10-game stretch here where they say they go 8-2, that's pretty good. No, but again, that's not smart because you're not getting enough back to pay 2 years of $80 million for Max Scherzer. That's not what you do. I didn't say do nothing. But again, why are you doing everything now? It's July 3rd. Again, Shooter, you're having great Brad ideas, right? You want to get rid of Scherzer and Verlander and have no rotation for next year. Okay, at the deadline. So we're having a conversation about nothing right now. I mean, come on. The point of the matter is, you don't do that now. You gotta understand. This trade was made to help the bullpen, to have a competent arm, other than Rayleigh and Robinson. And again, this guy is not earth-shattering here. Jeff, how you doing? And that is the idea. Why, Drew? Because it's my channel, one. I have my opinions just like everybody else have theirs. I don't agree with that. Some of their opinions. I'm allowed to do that, right? It's called a conversation. They possibly can. And again, we agree on that. That's a possibility as well. He actually has control. I think he has 2 years left on it, a year and a half on his deal still. So that's something that they can do. No, you don't free up cash. You're paying Verlander and Scherzer. You're not just trading them and not taking their money. That's what you're doing. So no, you're not freeing up money, Drew. That's a bad comment. So you want to sign younger and cheaper guys. So younger and cheaper guys are probably going to be bad. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Younger talent. But who? Yeah, Nick, like yours. Again, you're not freeing up money. How much money? What are you going to pay? $30 million? So we save $10 million on Scherzer's contract and Verlander's contract? Again, when we get to that point, we can have that conversation about Verlander and Scherzer. And then figure out what we're going to do in the offseason for a rotation. You know, you guys bring up Snell, Urias. Okay, that's fine. That is fine. But we're not there yet. Okay, but that is not, just because one team did it doesn't mean that they actually can, that another team does it and they're going to win a World Series. You know, I understand your logic, Shooter. Well, Drew, I mean, that is the other problem, too. You know, you're going to pay a guy $25, $30 million. Yeah, he's younger. We'll see. Yeah, you want younger talent, but he also wants to put a product on the field as well. He's not going to lose 100 games and say, oh, well, we got young talent. Nobody's going to the game. And it's very hard to get young talent in free agency. No, Drew, I agree with you. We have to add starters. But wouldn't it be nice to have either a Blake Snell or Urias with Scherzer and Verlander? You get the veterans and you get younger as well. And then you can figure out, you know, with Senga, who's going to probably be, you know, your top line starter. You know what? If Scherzer's your number three at this point, well, we'll see what happens. But again, it all depends on at the deadline. I don't want Syndergaard. No, I don't want Syndergaard. I don't want him in the bullpen. That guy has something wrong mentally with it. I mean, his downfall is amazing. Yeah, I understand that, but again, we just assume that Ohtani's coming here, guys. You know, Cohen can have the biggest offer, but that does not mean he's coming here. You know, I truly believe that the Dodgers are front runners. Jeff, I'm not going to say. it's pointless to say who anybody wants at the deadline because we don't know if the Mets are going to be complete sellers or buyers. Because I said this, if you're going to trade, don't half-ass it. That's the way I see it. Either make your decision and trade everything you can to get all types of prospects back, or don't do it half-ass. Don't trade Tommy Pham and Mark Canha, and that's it. And then that's basically what you do. Yeah, shooter again. I don't think it's a look. There's gonna be the Dodgers, the Mets, probably the Padres. But I just again, I don't think it's just if the money's close. I don't think that Ohtani is going to come here. You know, we all know about the relationship Epler has with Ohtani. Maybe that could be a thing that can help it, but I don't think so, guys. I mean, I'm all on board. I think we're all on board for Ohtani, but I don't know, guys. I think the Dodgers are front runners, and they saved a lot of money this year on the offseason. They didn't make no big moves because they're saving up that piggy bank for Ohtani, and why the hell not, you know? Oh, yeah. Well, I still believe that Cohen's not going to get outbid for Ohtani. But again, with the Ohtani situation, I just don't think that it's just about money. Because if it's a $50 million difference, if say the Dodgers go 650 and Cohen goes 690, I think he's going to go into the Dodgers. I honestly believe that. Yeah, but Paul, the whole thing with Marte is very weird. Because yeah, we can get rid of him, but again, I mean, I'm not trading him unless we're going to get something back of better value. Because if you're going to lose. I don't see what you're going to get from Marte, even if you do take on a decent amount of the money. I mean, is he washed up? Maybe. But again, he did have major surgeries, and then with his age, kind of, coincides with like all the problems he's had this year, even though the lack of effort kind of annoys me. But I do think that, again, it's going to be very interesting. And again, all the people, listen, I love the back and forth with everybody. Even the disagreements are always fun with you guys because it's difference of opinions, and all we want is the Mets to win. So just because we have difference of opinions, don't mean that I don't appreciate you guys hanging on and chilling with me today. Well, again, easy. That is the main problem, is that the lack of good free agents this offseason is a major problem for the Mets. For everybody who just wants to get rid of everybody, because you're really counting on these prospects that you either get back or that you have in your farm system that should be up, and you're counting on them to be good. If they're not good, the Mets are very much in trouble, no matter if you get Ohtani or not. Because the last time I checked, Ohtani and Trout are on the same team, and when was the last time the Angels made the playoffs? So, we'll see. So, guys, once again, the New York Mets make a trade for the Seattle Mariners. Chris Flexen, Trevor Gott for Zach Muckenhirn. And the Mets already DFA'd and took on that money of Chris Flexen to get a quality reliever in Trevor Gott. So it helps out the bullpen a little bit. And again, if we paid attention, a lot of the times the Mets are either tied or leading in the sixth inning on, and they've been giving up a lot of leads. So any bullpen arms that are quality can help this bullpen. A little tweak in this pitching. The rotation has been better. If the bullpen gets a little bit better, the pitching has been the major problem. Not saying this is going to turn around or anything, let's be honest, but it's possible because you've seen teams like that are actually in playoff spots now, like the Reds, teams like that, like the Giants, especially the Reds that were on like a 15-game stretch where they played really well. And this team needs 2 weeks, and we'll see what happens when they play Arizona. But I'm very confident that the Mets will make a run, but they will come up short. Unfortunately, that's just my opinion. maybe that's just wishful thinking because why the hell not? I mean, what else do Met fans have except for, you know, hopefulness? Jeff, I don't know. I mean, anybody can beat anybody in baseball. It's just a matter of can they string a couple of runs together. I don't know. We'll see. Diamondbacks are really, are one of the surprise teams in baseball and really, really damn good. So it's gonna be tough. We'll see. So with that said, guys, Mets make that trade basically to get the reliever Trevor Gott and DFA Chris Flexen and take on that money. Zach Meckenherm is traded to Seattle. So with that said, guys, 8:30 tonight is the Mets off-day report. So make sure you check on that. We're going to talk more about the trade, more about tomorrow's the series against the Diamondbacks, and so much more. So once again, guys, have a great day. Shay is still sleeping, as you guys can see. So everybody, have a great rest of your day. If you can't tune in later tonight, have a good 4th of July, everybody. As always, Met fans, let's go Mets. I will see you guys later tonight. Good night, guys.